When you see yourself as an artist that breaks the mold of what is considered to be regular in the music industry, you always have to find new and different things to keep yourself at the forefront of your craft. With this album, Kickin' and Screamin' by Krizz Kaliko, it definitely shows how at the time, Krizz wanted to be at the forefront of rapping on dubstep. There were a few people that were rapping on Skrillex beats and even Excision beats way back when, and even some people rapping on deadmau5 beats. Now, I don't remember if any of them had official collaborations outside of Excision and Skrillex, but that is neither here nor there. Krizz Kaliko was inspired by this art form to make this album. The trailer for the album had the song Dancing With Myself, and I was blown away. I immediately pre-ordered it, and just for the sake of a 17-year-old kid finding out one of his favorite artists was putting out an album with one of the weirdest sounding instrumentations in music at the time, it's kind of, it's almost like you're walking in blind because you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, the trailer sounds great, but how many people are let down with albums after they pre-order them? It's happened multiple times in, probably the last 5 years. A lot of people have pre-ordered albums, but they've been let down, even from some of the biggest names. But the main thing that he wanted to bring home with this is to show his versatility on whatever instrumental he puts himself on, whether it be dubstep, whether it be a soul beat, anything. A 1950s sounding doo-wop song is the third song on the album. The first one's an intro, and it's just one of their frontmen at the time letting everybody know that they're about to be a witness to this album. But the first song on here is Dancing With Myself, and that is Krizz Kaliko seeing himself as a person that does not fit in the music industry. But if no one else is dancing with him, then he'll be dancing with himself. He loves what he does, and if no one else loves what he does, then he has no problem with that. He makes the music that he wants to make, and that in and of itself makes him an amazing artist. The third song on here is called Cali Baby, which has that 1950s doo-wop beat. It's transformed into a little bit of dubstep too, but he sings on it very, very well, and I'm kind of shocked. At first, it was something so different, I was like, I don't know if I like this. But 17-year-old me at the time was into very bombastic and strong-sounding hip-hop. And even more so now, but that's just translated itself, but to the point where I needed to listen to something that was lighter. And I wasn't appreciating it as much. Now, this album, to me, is a classic. I highly recommend everybody listen to it. There will be a link in the description below with this album's purchase info of iTunes, because this album has been massively slept on. But at the time, it was one of his greatest. Keyword was. He has released a lot of fantastic music since then. One of his most recent albums being Go, and that is just the most soulful, rappy, it's just everything in a nice gift-wrapped box. It's amazing. Now, the next few songs on here are something that you really wouldn't imagine to be at the forefront of a dubstep album. But Krizz Kaliko features himself with Twista and Tech N9ne on a song called Kill Shit, which to this day, I don't think I've heard Twista rap that damn well. He is a very, very talented lyricist, but I don't think he's put that much effort into a verse in the past few years. But there have been moments for him, at least at that time, that he brought out a couple features and still had that same kind of gumption. He's been a little lacking recently, but that doesn't mean his fire still isn't there. I guess he's just not inspired by some of the stuff he's listening to recently. Maybe that's it. Nevertheless, the next song after this that immediately booms into it is called Mayday, which features Ritz and Chamillionaire. I never thought I would hear all three of these guys on one track when I found out about this song. But when I heard Chamillionaire's verse, I was blown away. When I heard Ritz, that was around the time I found out about him. So when you find out about an artist and you hear that they're on one of your favorite artists' album, you're like, yes, yes, this is what I need. This is the song that's going to give me life, and it did. That song is the fastest, oh my goodness, it is like the outcry of what everybody is saying now. There has been a lot of wash, rinse, and repeat messages in hip-hop, but that doesn't mean you can't tell your story any differently. You can still talk about how people in the game don't understand you. You can still talk about how people in the game are disrespecting you. It's just every walk of life in this record. And from, I think, this record onwards, Chamillionaire didn't put much out. So it was nice to see him go out, at least lyrically, on a positive note. Now, the song after this is called Dixie Cup, which features Big Scoob, Twisted, and oh my goodness, that song is the party song. That is like the hardcore party song. Another really good song on here directly after this is Abu Dhabi, which features the 816 Boys. Now, this is a fictional group that has won a Grammy that Tech Nine made up for a song called Areola. That song was taken out of the tour mix recently, apparently due to charges that were placed and falsely accused on Tech Nine, but that doesn't mean we still can't remember it fondly. 816 Boys, back on a really late 2000s album, had a skit where they had won a Grammy, and after that they basically built the story that they have it, and it's just them being bombastic and silly. And they even filmed the music video at the Kansas City Auto Show, which was pretty cool. They had all the members. They had Tech Nine, Krizz, Kaliko, Cut Calhoun, and Maxzilla in the video, and they were all standing around these crazy looking cars like Mercedes and Range Rovers that are concept cars, Lambos and whatnot. It was crazy. It was cool. It was nuts. It was something that is so out of pocket for them. They had a lot of fun doing it. That music video was awesome. Now, after this is a lot of like low down, I need help music. There is a song called Hello Walls, which talks about the mental issues that Tech and Krizz Kaliko witness on a daily basis, but Tech more or less talks about it hypothetically. He has the feeling that every once in a while he feels really low down, he feels suicidal, but not as much as he was when he was younger, when he felt like he wasn't going to make it in the game. He knows all the ways that he would be able to take himself out via things that are within an arm's reach of his bed. But he decides not to, because he knows that although he's low at the moment, he can still pick himself up. There's another song on here called Created a Monster, which is one of my favorite Krizz Kaliko songs to date. There has not been a single song to capture me with such a feeling of, I am not the person that you thought I once was. I am that same kid that grew up with vitiligo on my face, but I am now toppling over you with the success that I have achieved over these years, and you cannot stop me. Another song after this is called Wannabe. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. This song starts off amazing. It starts off with scratches and samples of Krizz Kaliko verses and guest features that were done on other people's albums at the time, but the intensity of this song, there has not been another song on any of his albums that matches the intensity of the hook, the verses in it, even the guest features. This is the second Twisted feature on this album. I honestly thought at the time that Twisted was going to end up being signed to Strange Music because those guys were killing it on this album. They did so well on the guest verses. They only took up the fourth set of verses on this song, and it blew me away. Krizz's chorus is just utterly phenomenal. I highly recommend you guys listen to this song. If you don't want to listen to the album, that's fine. Just listen to this song. This song gets me pumped up every single time. I can't not listen to it and not sing along. It's so addictive. Now, the song after this is called Unstable, and Unstable is basically Krizz Kaliko going back to his bipolar days when he was talking on the Genius record that he put out back in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And that is just how he feels like he's okay sometimes, but there's just not something there. He doesn't feel that the right pieces are in the right places. A song after this is called Dream of a King, which features Mayday and Prozac. Now, this was around the time that Mayday got signed to Strange Music, so it was nice to see them put in the message of, we need to keep an eye on the people in the world, not just ourselves. Prozac was putting on more of a message of, we need to keep an eye on the world and not ourselves. Not the people of the world, but the world itself. And Krizz's wife is even featured on it. She's an uncredited feature, but she talks about the stresses of going back and forth in the world and seeing how things are so negative, but maybe it's just better off if we weren't here. Maybe the world would thrive without all of us here. It would be better off without humans. The final song on this record is called Stay Alive, which features Big Scoop. Now, at the time, I was very impressed with this verse. Looking back at it, this is one of his best verses until he got on the Strangulation records. But when Big Scoop is featured on a song, he does not hold anything back. And I think as the years have gone by, like I said on the Duality review, he has the ability to kill it. And he used every single bit of his gumption to explode on this record. Now, a lot of people may be wondering why it is that I give people on Strange Music so much praise. There have been a lot of people that have been finding out about Tech N9ne in the past few years, whether it be from the Carter 4 interlude, or people finding out just through the grapevine, or even through the radio singles that he's done. It's a multitude of things, but there's talent that hides beneath the surface. There are stars that are underneath the ground. And if you are willing to dig deep beyond what is seen to be normal, maybe you yourself can understand why everyone sees this music to be so strange. My name is Ethan, otherwise known as Two-Face. This is episode 37 of Claws. It was my pleasure to review this Krizz Kaliko album today. I highly recommend that everybody listen to it. If you guys have the chance to, listen to Wannabe. That song is amazing. But if you want to go on a wild ride back into 2012 when dubstep was the thing, listen to the album. I highly, highly recommend it. I will see everybody next week when I'm dropping a review on the brand new Florence and the Machine album. Yeah, I know. I review hip-hop on here, but next week I'm going to be reviewing a frickin' pop record. So get off my back. It's the only time I'm going to be doing it. Because I enjoy Florence and the Machine's music, and I think everybody else should know about it. Because I don't see many people review it positively. Nevertheless, I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend. Do some adventuring. Live your life the way you want to. Don't ask for forgiveness. Peace.